Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another exciting cavalcade edition of After the First Half, as we review the games of the 1 o'clock and we go to preview of the Sunday and final Monday night game of the season, even though the season isn't over until next week. We'll explain that coming up, but right now, let's get on with it, shall we? Because oh boy, we've had a buttload of surprises. Um, a buttload of surprises. Thank you. There we go. Hey, now I caught on in the National Football League, and one of them, um, I yeah, shock is more like it, especially if you're a Tampa Bay fan. We will explain all that coming up. But right now, if I can like that, see if I can do it like that. Oh, good. I can. That way I can look like this. All right, let's get on with it. Let's review the 1 o'clock games. We got two. Oh, yeah. Well, let's do it. There we go. I'll be all right. If you saw what I saw in the Tampa Bay Jets game, you'd be like that too. Anyway, let's get on with it. Cincinnati Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs 34-31. If that wasn't a shocker, I don't know what is. But wow, talk about stunners. And we're just getting started. Buffalo Bills, they came out running and gunning and playing in the snow. Oh, yeah. The Bills beat the Falcons 29-15. Bing that bell, because if you bet in the Jaguars-Patriots game, if you bet $5 on the over, because I'm going to pull this out, as they say, as Dan O'Toole, formerly of TSN, would say, as broadcaster Dan O'Toole would say, always take the over. Wow. If you bet money on the Patriots Jaguars game over, you would have won because they scored 60 points. 50 of those were the Patriots. They beat the Jaguars 50-10. So right now the Jaguars have clinched the first round draft pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Yes, sir. We keep going. And Matthew Stafford has done the impossible. He brought a team that he quarterbacks for to the playoffs. Unfortunately, it was the LA Rams. That's right. The Rams are back and led by a guy who's unchained. Matthew Stafford brought the Rams to the promised land. Barely. Rams beat the Ravens 20-19. Raiders dismembered the Colts 23-20. Titans over the Dolphins 34-3. Bears. What? To save your coach's buns? The Bears. The Bears, they beat the Giants. The Bears, they beat the Giants. The Bears, they beat the Giants. 29-3. And the Philadelphia Eagles, they demolished the Washington 20-16. Now, oh boy. Oh, Tampa Bay Buccaneers got out of MetLife Stadium, or whatever they're calling it in the Meadowlands, by the skin of their teeth. 28-24 final score. And this game, for those of you who watch this in Tampa Bay, or for those of you who are Tampa Bay Buccaneer fans, what happened in this game? Let's put it this way. You may have just seen the last appearance of Antonio Brown in a Tampa Bay uniform or in any NFL uniform. We'll talk about that tonight at midnight on Sports Final. Now, we've done all that. We got a couple of things going on. Let's pop it up. Broncos Chargers, the 4:05 games just got underway. 11:49 left to play in the opening quarter, and the Chargers lead the Broncos 7-0. Meanwhile, about halfway out of the end of the first quarter, almost said first half, but we're about midway in the first quarter. Texans, 49ers just underway. Texans with the ball, 2nd and 5 on their own 40-yard line. By the way, Broncos and Chargers, Broncos 1st and 10 on their own 25. I will tell you that we might as well just do the story now because it is hot. It is off the presses, and it's a bye. That's right. Antonio Brown may have, just as we said goodbye to the NFL and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Week 17 game in the middle of the third quarter as they trailed the New York Jets by double digits. Brown decided not to exit subtly, taking his pads off on the sidelines and giving some of his equipment to fans. The Buccaneers wide receiver then proceeded to wave his hands up in the end zone with his shirt off and exited the stadium as play was resuming. Weird. Brown had 3 catches for 26 yards in the game on 5 targets. There's no clear reason why he left the stadium in such an unconditional way. Jen Hale of Fox Sports said Mike Evans tried to convince Brown to keep on his pads, but he was unable to as Brown decided to walk away from Tampa Bay. Brown was upset over something happening on the Buccaneers sidelines, per Go Bucs Radio. He was benched by head coach Bruce Arians prior to him voluntarily leaving the game. He had 42 catches for 545 yards and 4 touchdowns this season. He can earn up to $1 million in contract incentives over the final 2 games of the year if he reached the following criteria. This from Sports Track: 8 receptions, 55 yards, and 1 touchdown. There was still money on the line for Brown, but that apparently doesn't matter to the 4-time All-Pro and 2010's All-Decade selection, especially after the benching. It appears Brown may have played his final snap not only in Tampa Bay, but in the NFL, because Roger Goodell will be laying the hammer down. Or will it be a little tappy tap on the hand? No, it won't. By Monday, Antonio Brown will be gone. Bet on that. In fact, I'm going to say it exclusively. Sports Final will be projecting and predicting a fast exit for Antonio Brown in about 24 hours. In fact, maybe 12 hours, maybe midnight. But he definitely has played his last game in the National Football League, and he will either pack it in at midnight or around maybe noon Eastern time tomorrow. But his career is done in Tampa Bay, and it may be toast in the National Football League. I don't even think the Canadian Football League will have him. Maybe the returning USFL. We'll just have to wait and see. Also, we got some predictions. Vikings, Broncos, and Bears could possibly be getting some new coaches. Jacksonville Jaguars, quite possibly. They have interim coaches in place, and as previously reported, Raiders owner Mark Davis was not eager to get a jump on other teams or utilize the virtual interview window as he continued to hope his team could reach the postseason. It's possible, though it would require the help from the Vikings, Broncos, would require some help. The Vikings, Broncos, and Bears have also had internal discussions about their head coaching situations. So next week, Matt Nagy for Chicago may be coaching his last game, but the way the Bears played today, I don't know. But we'll find out. I have a feeling some coach is going to find out before the witching hour next week. Like I said, Antonio Brown's going to find out Monday if he's still in Tampa Bay, but I doubt it. Yes, I doubt it. So, wow, I mean, this was incredible. And the Bengals got the division title. Do we happen to have the listings, guys, or are we going to have to wait patiently for the yeah, let's take a look at the playoff picture right now. As it stands, actually, let's see. They clinched a playoff berth, but not home field advantage. Okay, so I guess we are going to have to later tonight when we return to you at midnight with our show. Next week is the last week, so but possibly the well, Bengals and Titans won the division crowns. Pats and Bills are in. I don't know what else you can ask for, but wow, in freaking credible. I will state that in freaking credible. Now, next week, the grand finale. Here are the games that we know are going to be played in the 18th week, guys, the bonus week, as we like to call it. Thank you. Right now, here are the games we know that are going to be played on Sunday, January 9th. Now, we don't know about Saturday, January the 8th. There are two games. The afternoon one, 4:30, that'll be on ESPN and simulcast on ABC, and 8:15 on ESPN and ABC. Let's take you on the Sunday trip, the final Sunday officially of the 2021 season. Cowboys and Eagles, 1 o'clock on Fox. They will also carry the Packers and Lions. Washington at the Giants, Bears at Vikings, Panthers at Buccaneers, Saints at Falcons, and their 4:25 games will be 49ers at Rams and Chiefs at Seattle at Arizona. CBS will carry the following 1 o'clock games: Colts at Jaguars, Patriots at Dolphins, Titans at Texans, Steelers at Ravens, Jets at Bills, Bengals at Browns, and the 4:25 games for CBS are Chargers at Raiders, Chiefs at Broncos, and the Sunday night football game has yet to be determined. So, as I say, stand by for deets on that. But, man, oh man, a Chevrolet, what is wrong? Antonio Brown. Well, I think we may have something here. We have more breaking news that was just piled in. It didn't take long. Reportedly, Bruce Arians and the management of the Buccaneers, or the Buccaneer complex, Bruce Arians has reportedly given Antonio Brown his papers. He's gone. He is reportedly gone from the Buccaneers about maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. We're not going to, we just report. We are not certain from sources who are the Tampa Bay fans. But apparently, Antonio Brown has just been given his walking papers. He is gone from the Buccaneers football team. As of this very moment, 4:23 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have the official word probably around midnight or tomorrow morning. But once again, word out of Tampa Bay is that Antonio Brown is no longer a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He is out. So there we go on that little little bit of brochet news. And if we can, no, let's pop down. Okay, let's tell them where you got your information from. Same place everyone else does, from other sources, other media sources, which are reporting that Antonio Brown has been released. We will get that officially on Monday, but I have a feeling he gone. And that's not the only mess happening. Apparently, a couple of Rams teammates got into a little scrape, and we'll give you more report on that. But wow. We'll also give you a report on the Rose Bowl and everything else tonight. Let's tell you that tomorrow, the games Sunday will be the 1 o'clock and 4:25 games. I do believe NBC Sunday Night Football will end next week. And we're trying to find out what game they will have as a grand finale for the season, or the season finale. So join us at around midnight Eastern for the funniest 45 minutes to an hour of a program that is self-confusing in its own right. But right now, we are going to kick you with sort of a recap of the scores. Let's first give you a recap of the 4:05 games on CBS. You can stream it on Paramount Plus. And they is Chargers 7, Broncos 0, 6:06 left in the opening quarter. And the Texans and 49ers locked up in a nice little jam fest with 4:22 left in the opening quarter. Goose eggs. Bills beat the Falcons 29-15. Patriots lamb danced the Jaguars, who have officially become the holders of the first round draft pick. There you go. 50-10 final score. Patriots win. Bengals upset the Chiefs 34-31. Rams over the Ravens 20-19. Raiders over the Colts 23-20. Titans over the Dolphins 34-3. Bears over the Giants 29-3. Eagles over Washington 2016. Buccaneers said goodbye to Antonio Brown and the New York Jets 28-24. And the 4:25 games have just gotten underway. Cowboys and Cardinals early in the first quarter, no score. Panthers and Saints early on the first quarter, no score. Seahawks, Lions early on in the first, and no score there. We got the Vikings and Packers. We'll preview the Vikings and Packers now, and then we'll wrap things up with the Monday Night Tilt. Now, while the Green Bay Packers have dominated the NFC North lately, there's one of division opponent they've struggled to solve. The Minnesota Vikings have only won their last two matchups with the Packers and are the only NFC North team to beat them during Matt LaFleur's 3-year coaching tenure in Green Bay. The Vikings will try to do it again tonight on NBC as they attempt to boost their playoff hopes amid potential single at the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. The Vikings they'll be eliminated from playoff contention if they lose at Green Bay and the Philadelphia Eagles win at Washington, which I do believe they've already done. Green Bay has wrapped up its third straight NFC North title. The Packers will clinch the NFC's number one playoff seed and lone first round bye if they win Sunday and the Cowboys lose or tie at home against the Arizona Cardinals. How much you want to bet? That won't help them. They'll get it. They'll clinch the number one playoff seed, which means free pass. Packers have won four straight since falling 34-31 at Minnesota on a game decided by Greg Joseph's 29-yard field goal as time expired. Vikings also won 28-22 at Green Bay last season, handing the Packers their only regular season home loss in the last 2 years. Green Bay has struggled to contain Minnesota's top skill position players. Cook has rushed for 163 yards, caught two passes for 63 yards and scored 4 touchdowns in the Vikings' victory at Lambeau last season. Justin Jefferson caught 8 passes for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Packers early this year. Vikings are going to need a huge performance from one of the two tonight, particularly now that Adam Thielen has been placed on injured reserve. Now, although it isn't expected to snow, the forecast in Green Bay for Sunday calls for a high of 12 and a low of 0. And in the stadium, we're talking below 0. Now, Aaron Rodgers, the anointed one, says it's important not to be sitting on that heated bench for too long because the difference between being super warm on the bench and being cold on the field is a little drastic. The Vikings say they can adapt to this. Now, Rodgers has thrown 16 touchdown passes without interception over his last 5 games, despite dealing with a toe injury. The torrid 5-game stretch started when he threw for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns in the loss at Minnesota, and the search has put Rodgers in contention for a 4th MVP award. Now, the Vikings have the 5th worst rate in the NFL in rushing yards allowed per game and per carry, continuing a troubling trend that began last season. Sony Michael had a season-high 131 yards on 27 rushes in the Vikings' 30-23 loss to the Rams last week. The Packers propose another challenge with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, a tandem that figures to be heavy in use with the frigid conditions. Now, the Pack already have their own issues on run defense. Green Bay allowed Cleveland to rush for 219 yards on 25 carries in a 24-22 Christmas Day victory over the Browns. Packers lead the NFL with a plus 16 turnover margin after intercepting 4 Baker Mayfield passes last week. Minnesota is 6th in the league at plus minus 9. The only team better than plus minus 3 with a losing record. The other teams in the NFL top 8 in the categories are combined 71 and 34. The Vikings have had a plus turnover differential in 7 of 15 games, but they're 2-5 when that happens. LaFleur owns a 38-9 regular season record to tie George Seifert for the most regular season wins of any NFL coach in the first 3 years. He went 38-10 with San Francisco from 89 to 91. With a victory tonight, LaFleur would overtake Seifert. Minnesota, Green Bay, live from the frozen tundra tonight at 8:20 on NBC. Let's give you, for one last gasp before next week, a look at the Browns Steelers. And in what could be the end of an era in the Berg Monday night. It's going to be exciting to see. Ben Roethlisberger, the player whose Hall of Fame caliber career has been defined by his ability to extend plays out of a mix of strength and sheer will, plans to go down fighting like always. When he runs out onto the Heinz Field turf for the 123rd and maybe final time as a starter Monday night when the Steelers host Cleveland, he won't be drinking in the moment. That moment will come later. For now, the mission remains what has always been during the 18-year career, trying to find a way to guide Pittsburgh to the playoffs, a place he has taken his team regularly, often at the expense of the Browns. Cleveland passed on the Ohio native in the 2004 draft, and he has spent 2 decades nearly exacting his own unique brand of revenge. Roethlisberger is 24-1 against the Browns in the regular season, including a 15-10 win in Cleveland on Halloween. The victory was part of a 4-game winning streak that helped the Steelers recover from a 1-3 start. Yet that forward momentum has stalled. Pittsburgh is just 2-4-1 in its last 7 games, including a blowout loss to Kansas City last week, in which Roethlisberger watched the final minutes from the sidelines after another blowout performance by an offense that hasn't scored a first-half touchdown since the week before Thanksgiving. Still, he remains optimistic. There's still time for the Steelers to put together an abbreviated run in time to salvage a widely erratic season. The Browns, like Pittsburgh, have endured a very chaotic season. A chance to beat the Steelers at home for the second time in 11 months, the first coming in a cathartic 48-37 playoff victory last January, would add a small layer of irony in a rivalry that's been largely one-sided during Roethlisberger's long tenure. One that will likely have a different quarterback under center for the first time in nearly 20 years. That's the future. Roethlisberger and his team insist they both are very much focused on the present. Now, Coach Mike Tomlin of the Steelers made the unusual decision to let offensive line coach Adrian Clem leave for a similar position at Oregon with 2 games remaining to avoid any misperceptions about Clem's commitment to finishing a job he began less than a year ago. Chris Morgan will be the new offensive line coach. Chance for him to state a case that he deserves the gig on a full-time basis next season. Having a young and largely uneven group find something resembling cohesion and momentum would be a start. Now, while Cleveland's offense continues to search for rhythm, the defense, well, they've pounded steadily along for weeks. The Browns rank in the top 10 against the rush, pass, and total yardage. After a sluggish start, unit rebuilt in the offseason with free agent signings has finally gelled. Cleveland has allowed 20 points or more just 3 times in the past 9 games. Now, after scrambling for 2 weeks and piecing together lineups due to a COVID-19 outbreak, the Browns are as healthy as they've been since the early portion of the season. Edge rusher Javion Clowney, center, and NFL Players Association president J.C. Treader, running back Kareem Hunt, rookie cornerback Greg Newsome, and kicker Chase McLaughlin were among the players activated this week after they missed Cleveland's 24-22 loss to Green Bay on Christmas. Clowney's return is the most significant. He's been playing his best football since joining the Browns before testing positive. Paired with star Myles Garrett, Clowney has bolstered Cleveland's pass rush and has the Browns considering re-signing him. Hope so. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for us here on After the First Half. Enjoy the 4:05 and 4:25 games and Sunday and Monday night. We'll see you later tonight at midnight on Sports Final for a full mini recap of all the action from the Sunday afternoon and Sunday night games. And of course, we wrap it all totally up next week with the final edition of After the First Half. We finally complete a season. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And until later tonight, we say to you, thank you. Good night. We'll talk to you, folks, at midnight Eastern for Sports Final. This has been a presentation of Mystifying Creativity Productions in association with the L2C Media Network and L2C Sports. See you tonight, midnight Eastern.